Good day, everyone. So, welcome to the live. Today, we are going to be chatting about a few different things. We're going to be chatting about how Mel and I we were able to quit our full-time jobs in our 30s. Who doesn't want to quit their full-time job in their 30s, right? So, we'll talk about that today. We'll discuss as well some creative financing, other people's money. The Fed is announcing today if they're staying the same, if they're cutting. A lot of interesting things going on. Bank of Canada cut last week. So we are going to be discussing today literally how Mel and I were able to, I was going to say cut. Doesn't cut our full time jobs? No. Well, I guess we did cut them out of our lives. Quit our full time jobs. Okay. Now, if you have questions, put them in the chat. I want this to be interactive, so don't be shy. Put them in the chat. We're live on multiple platforms right now. So I'll be taking questions from all different platforms. First off, actually, on our YouTube channel, I literally just did a story like 30 seconds ago. We literally just hit 20,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. So if you are not subscribed to our channel, definitely make sure to subscribe, hit the bell to get notified. We release a video every single week. We've got over 1,200 videos on there now. So do not be shy and follow us on all social media platforms. Hey, Vin, how are you? I'm good. I'm good. Got the fan on here. It's a little hot in the office. So if you see a little fan action behind me, just keeping cool. Hopefully it's nice and beautiful where you guys are. So a little bit about Mel and I. Okay. Our full-time jobs that we did have. Well, actually, let me backtrack even more. At one point, Mel and I both had 3 jobs. So that's 6 jobs. Hey, meet Irene. That's 6 jobs between the two of us. So I was literally a full-time firefighter. Okay. I had originally gotten on as a firefighter in Ottawa, nation's capital. Then I transferred and I got on in my city that I'm currently living in right now, North Bay. So full-time professional firefighter. On my days off, I was also a janitor, right, at a local school. So I was a janitor on my days off, and I was also a teacher's aide, basically. Okay. Mel worked at our local college. She was a program manager, developer, something with programs. Anyway, hopefully she's not listening to this. She's like, Dave, you don't even remember what I did? But yeah, she was a program manager, and she was also a fitness instructor at Good Life Fitness. And she was also teaching some online courses as well. So we both literally 3 jobs, 3 kids, 2 dogs, super busy. And you might be thinking, Dave, how do you go from having 6 jobs between you and Mel to quitting all of that? And it didn't happen overnight. Like let's be real. It's not a hey, Rich, overnight I'm leaving my job tomorrow. That's not how real estate necessarily works. However, the answer is real estate. And that's what Mel and I were able to do. So think about this. We had salary jobs, benefits, pension, unions, all of that stuff that people strive for. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that we were able to walk away from that. And we did so buying real estate, right? And it's not buying one building that's going to allow you to quit the job, right? It's going to be buying multiple assets. So that's what Mel and I decided to do. Once we understood how to use creative financing and other people's money, that was truly the jet fuel that we needed. Because in the beginning, we were buying one property a year. Well, I shouldn't say, maybe every 12 to 18 months, we were buying one property. So we'd buy one, we'd do the typical BRRRR, which, you know, what's kind of funny is before it had a name, and you're thinking, what is BRRRR? BRRRR is BRRRR. So buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. Okay. We just called that common sense because that's what Mel and I were doing. We were taking an asset here and bringing it up to here and then getting more money for it. Okay. So that's what we used to just call as common sense. But yeah, we would do that one property a year. Then we'd go back to the bank, refinance it up to 80%. We would take that money and rinse and repeat until the bank, I think we had like 4 or 5, I think it was 5, until the bank said no. We were like, what do you mean no? How is there a ceiling? Like, we're cash flowing on every single door, every single building. What do you mean our ratios don't make sense? So there's something called a total debt service ratio, TDSR, or a total debt to income, TDI. And it wasn't even necessarily that. It was, hey, this financial institution has a rule that after 5 properties you are maxed out. So now we were maxed out with that financial institution, and most of the big 5, if you're buying in your personal name, the big 4, the big 5, depending what country you're talking about, they will max you out at one point. We had all those personally as well. So then Mel and I sought out, yeah, that's the word, sought out on creative financing other people's money. And we literally, good night, it's 1:33 a.m. in my country. Okay, Vin, oh my gosh, you're up at 1:30 a.m.? I'm sleeping at that time. Hey, Jade. Okay, so what was I saying? So Mel and I basically found creative financing. We interviewed a lot of people that had big portfolios and went belly up. And that was our secret sauce, was how did they explode their portfolio in scale and size, okay, in doors and units and all that? How did they scale? So we wanted to know that, the creative financing and other people's money and leveraging and how to do it. But then we were more intrigued on how come these people lost it? How did they lose their portfolio? Because again, before Mel and I could quit our jobs, yes, we needed to know how to buy buildings, but we also didn't want to quit our jobs, build a portfolio, lose the portfolio, and then have no job. That would be the opposite of what we wanted, right? We'd actually be going backwards. Like, it didn't make any sense. So we spent a lot of time interviewing, talking to them, and seeing where did they go wrong in their portfolio, okay? And what they ended up doing was, okay, they were really good at raising funds. They were really good at buying deals. Well, probably not good at buying deals, but they were really good at acquisition mode, but they didn't have exit mode. And what I mean by exit is paying people back. Okay, and to me, that's the most important, right? Anyone can go out and buy a piece of property. Anyone can make a deal cash flow if they put a big enough down payment on it. But the real art, and this is what Mel and I pride ourselves on with our cash flow analysis matrix and our training, coaching, mentoring, is how do you pay people back? That is the secret sauce. So they were banking, these people that we interviewed and that lost their portfolio, they were banking on interest rates always staying low. We just went through a period, right? Hopefully the Fed makes a cut today, because that'll help my US properties. Bank of Canada already cut last week, so that's helping my Canadian properties. But they were hoping that interest rates would stay low. We just went through a period where it can't be any more, what's the word? Apparent, evident, real. Everyone knows that interest rates can go up because we just went through that market cycle. So we know that you can't bank on that. We just saw people get pinched with that, and then their strategy was dependent on the market always going up, which we just went through that. We know that the market doesn't always go up. A lot of people thought, hey, I'm a genius. They bought some places during COVID, made some money, and like, yeah, this real estate thing is easy. Real estate can be easy if you know how to do it. But again, there is a system, there's a process. So we interviewed them. We found out what were they doing right, what were they doing wrong. Mel and I extracted that, and then we put into play the exit strategy, which is what we teach in our Action Family Mentoring program. So once we did that and we understood creative financing, then boom, in 2017 we bought 12 properties in 12 months, right? So 2016 we were still doing, because Mel and I met in 2012. Yes, I'm like, yeah, doing the math in my head here. We met in 2012 and we started buying buildings, basically one a year until 2016 or until 2017, and then with the creative financing knowledge. 2017, we bought 12 properties in 12 months. Okay. So super fun stuff. And then Mel, we had the bad Carway crash. If you haven't seen it, if you're following us on social, check out some posts, check out some of our, you'll see the car crash. It happened just outside of Toronto, in the Vaughan area. Mel and I almost died. The Ontario Provincial Police, I'll never forget, when they walked up to us, they're like, I don't know how you guys are alive. These car crashes that we come to, these are typically, we're calling the, what's the, not the morgue, the, when people pass away, we're usually calling the, whatever the name of that position is. I can't think of it right now. But yeah, we're usually calling the coroner. There you go, the coroner. Usually calling the coroner. So we were super, super happy with that. So Mel was able to leave her job first in 2018 after that car crash. The only reason she was able to is because we had built up a portfolio of real estate, right? If we hadn't, then we would have had to now embark on this process and now start, which would have kicked the can down the road, right? But we were able to do so. I followed quitting my job shortly thereafter. Then in 2020 we bought 119 units, right? Another big spike in units. Actually, someone asked in 2017 how many units was the 12 properties in 12 months. It was about 56 units. So yeah, Mel quit her job in 2018. We had the car crash. We ended up writing the book that same weekend. We went to a real estate conference. We ended up writing the book, which became an Amazon bestseller, right? Amazon bestseller. Mel and I actually have three. Sorry, let me correct myself. I have 2 Amazon best-selling books. Mel has 3. But it all came from the knowledge of the good, the bad, the ugly that we went through. So yeah, 2020, we bought 119 units. We buy every year. Some of them are big years, and some of them are just, buying a couple and then making sure that, the monolith, that is hilarious. Sorry, not everyone's seeing it. Someone said it's Bruce Willis. Yes, young Bruce Willis, when he was still super movie star Bruce Willis. Thank you for the compliment, Monolith. I like it. But yeah, we were only able to quit our jobs because we had real estate, we had that portfolio. And it's because we do it the right way, which is paying people back. Okay. So let's keep talking about how Mel and I were able to quit. So when you're building a portfolio, we reverse engineered. So we said, okay, my job, my firefighting job, I'm making X amount of dollars per month. Mel, your college job, you're making X amount of dollars per month. We need to make at least the same amount of money as we're making right now, if not more. So then we said, how much cash flow, how many units would we need to buy? And this is where you reverse engineer. So let's say you're looking in a particular market and particular deals make you X amount of dollars. So then you just take that. So let's say every door makes you $100, $250, $500. Again, I'm just making up because every market is different here. Then you just reverse engineer. So if I'm making, I don't know, $2,000 every paycheck, I'm making $4K a month. How do I replace that? Well, if you're making X amount of dollars per door in a certain market, just do the math, right? Reverse engineer it on how many buildings, how many units you would need to buy. The other cool thing that Mel and I took into consideration as well is once you have a portfolio, like now we refinance multiple deals every single year and we get multiple pockets of money, right? So you refinance a deal that you haven't done the last 3 to 5 years. Typically, it has gone up in evaluation and you're typically able to pull out 5 to 6 figures, right? Tens of thousands, if not, 6 figures, over 100,000. So that you're able to actually attribute towards your annual income. So let's say, you're making X amount of dollars per month on a certain amount of units, but then you do a big refinance and you get $50,000. Well, that 50K can now be considered part of your annual income if you're looking at quitting your job and you're looking at, hey, how am I going to pay the bills and do this? So that's literally what we did. And the cool thing was, as we grew the portfolio and then all of a sudden you get 10 deals, now we're in the, lots and lots of deals. Every single year, we know we can count on multiple refinances. So all of that goes towards how you're able to quit your job. Now, that being said, let me get to the financing part. Jeez, quite the comments going on here on YouTube. Usually TikTok is where I get the chirps, but now it's on YouTube. I love it. Now I'm Steve Austin. I love it. Stone Cold Steve Austin. I was a big wrestling fan back in the day. So it's easy to say, hey, go buy a lot of buildings, then quit your job. Now, the refinance part, it doesn't just happen. And what I mean by that is the refinancing, you need to qualify depending on what type of asset you're buying, depending on if you're using asset-based lending or equity-based lending or debt servicing lending. And that's the thing. I'll talk in general because there's so many different financing products and they all have different underwriting and requirements. However, the secret sauce for Mel and I that we've been able to do is, again, we don't have employment income. So in Canada, that would be T4. In the US, that would be W2. We don't have self-employment income. So in Canada, yeah, self-employment. In the US, that would be 1099. So we don't have any of that. All of our income is portfolio income, real estate portfolio income. So what that means is we have real estate in our entities. So corporations in Canada, LLCs in the US. I'll just talk Canada and US. We have real estate in Costa Rica, Mexico, and Dominican, but let's just talk Canada and the US. So those entities, those corporations, those LLCs make money within themselves, and then we take dividends in Canada and disbursements in the US from there. So when we file our taxes, it's all income from disbursements and dividends. So it's portfolio income. And what we did is we sat down with the financial institutions and we reverse engineered with them as well. Meaning, hey, Mr. Mrs. Mortgage broker, banking, or financial institution, if I come to you with a deal and I want it approved, how much portfolio income would I need to have? And that's what they did. They ran the numbers and they said, hey, if you're still making X amount from your portfolio, we'll be able to approve deals as long as they have their certain ratios, and which obviously I would only bring them good deals. So that was the next step we did, was we made sure that our portfolio income was enough so that we can continue getting the green light from financing. And again, it's not just because private lenders won't necessarily have that scrutiny or have that underwriting as much as like the big four or the big five banks, right? However, you're not just looking at when you get in the deal, how am I going to exit the deal? How am I going to refinance this and pay everyone out? So yes, it might be easier to get into a deal and you're thinking, hey, I don't have employment, I don't have income, I don't have anything, and as long as the private lender is okay with that, then it doesn't matter. But at some point, that private lender is going to want their money back and you are going to have to exit that deal, which is like, oh, that's when it matters. That's why I have to have a plan. Absolutely. That's why I'm talking about it right now, is when we quit our jobs in our 30s, both Mel and I. For those of you just tuning in, I was a full-time professional firefighter. Mel was worked at our local college here. We knew we had to make enough money from the deals for them to go, yep, check mark, income is good enough for us to underwrite and approve them. So if you're looking at quitting or walking away from your job, you'll have to have, depending on the lender, but when you want to go to like an A lender or the bigger financial institutions, they're going to need a couple of boxes checked off, which that might be one. So now when I go to a bank, again, like I said, I don't have T4 or W2 income. I don't have self-employment or 1099. I go, here's my portfolio. Here's the equity, right? Which is your personal net worth. And here's the amount of portfolio income that I make. And that's what they approve us for. Okay. And that's how we're able to get, even without jobs or without anything, that's how we're still able to get, AAA financing because of that portfolio income. And that's what allowed us to quit our job. So even if you're thinking, Dave, I want to do what you do, I want to one day walk away from my job, right? Actually, I heard a stat this morning. I think it was like 70 or 74% of people, I forget if it was Canadians or Americans or what it was. It was just a general stat, do not like their job. I was like, wow, 3/4 of people in North America, and it might be everywhere, I don't know, of North America don't like their jobs. Like, I'm flabbergasted at, like, I couldn't imagine not loving my job. And not that I don't even have a job. Like, my job is talking to you right now on social media, right? Like, we have two basically jobs. I shouldn't say job. We have two. We have our buildings, our portfolio make us money. And then we have our Action Family, our coaching and mentoring, right? Where we show people how to do this. So if you want to say I have a job, I oversee Mel and I oversee our deals. And then Mel and I help people achieve what we've done so that they can do it for themselves. And I love both of them. Like, I don't know which one. It's like a child. I can't say which one I love more. You know what I mean? So I love buying buildings, which again has allowed us to quit our jobs. So I love having assets. I love buying buildings. I love analyzing deals. I love raising funds and putting deals together creatively. And I also love helping people, which is the Action Family. So what I'm getting at is Mel and I absolutely love what we do every single day. And I couldn't imagine being part of that 70+% of people that don't. So if you're watching this right now, whether it's right now when I'm live or after the fact, and you're like, hey, this guy was, and there's nothing special about me. I was a firefighter, not a rocket scientist. Okay, let's keep that. I'm not some algebra mathematician. That's not me. That's not Dave. It's having a system. We perfected the system, meaning Mel and I unfortunately had to go through a lot of trial and error and ups and downs and good and bad and ugly to put the process together. And now the process, as long as you follow it, you can be successful. But that's all it is. It's a process. It's systems. It's following it. It's taking action. Like the biggest thing, and you might think this is cheesy, but it's kind of like, Mel and I do presentations, and this is usually Mel's part, but I'm going to steal it from her right now, is success. And let's just talk real estate. Real estate investing success is a triangle. Triangle has 3 parts, right? Again, don't have to be a mathematician to know that. So a triangle has 3 parts. And literally, Mel and I can help you with the knowledge. Mel and I can help you with the resources, right? Knowledge, resources. We have all the contacts. We can help you. We can introduce you. We can show you how we do it. So that's easy, right? We can show you all that stuff. The biggest part, and this is the part where people need to help themselves, is action. Knowledge, resources, action. So the third one there, and the most important in my opinion, is that action. Okay? And this is the part where fear sets in, and people would rather be uncomfortable in their own situation, continuing to do what they do, continuing to not like their job. 74% of people don't like their job. They would rather have that than the fear of, or the uncomfortableness, if that's even a word, of getting started and getting outside of their box, right? So, and that's just from years and years of Mel and I doing this. Like, if you're sitting there and you're thinking, Dave, I'm part of that 74% or 75, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm part of that 70+% that really doesn't like, you might be on your lunch break right now and you're like, oh man, I got to go back in 30 minutes. I can't do this anymore. Like, the triangle, the third part, the action part, the most important part. My team's going to put a link here. Book a call so that we can talk about how to help you. Again, I quit my job in my 30s, right? I'm 38 right now. I quit at, I think I was 31. No, how old was I? It doesn't matter. I quit my job in my 30s. Was that 6-7 years ago? I don't know. It doesn't even matter anymore. Anyway, I quit my job in my 30s. I couldn't even imagine working anymore. Like, it's just knowing what I know now and the freedom that Mel and I have, and loving what I'm doing. So again, what I'm getting at here is you can do this too. Team, put the link. If you're interested in getting help, again, Mel and I can help you. Our Action family has over 2,100 members, right? So we can definitely help you with this. So if you're interested, the team's going to put the link here. I'll highlight it once the team, or DM us the word action, because you might be on different platforms. So DM us the word action, right? That's the third part of the triangle. Knowledge, resources, action. This is why we called it the Action family, because that's all that matters. Execution and action is all that matters. And I'll get into some mindset stuff, because Mel and I had the right mindset to be able to quit our jobs in our 30s, okay? We had to put in some work in order to get what we want. So again, you're not going to quit your job tomorrow. Let's be very, very real with each other. Most likely you're not quitting your job tomorrow, okay? However, you can start to take actions every single day in order to quit your job eventually. So if every single day you're taking action, which is the most important, and you're working towards, the goal here. There we go. And you're working towards the goal of buying real estate, buying the right kind of real estate, doing like Mel and I do, using other people's money, using creative financing, using leverage to really scale a portfolio. Again, we do it properly. We don't cut corners. We don't borrow money that we can't pay back, right? That we've all seen people do that, and they give private lending a bad name because they did not have an exit strategy. Okay, so doing it right from the beginning, not cutting corners, making sure that you have your exit strategy before you even touch a piece of real estate. This is what Mel and I do. We always pay people back. We pay them back earlier on time. Okay, so that's the thing. If you want to do this, which you can, we have so many people from all over the world in our Action family. We have people that are new to Canada, new to the US. We have people that are in Mexico investing as well. We have people from India that are doing this as well. So again, you can do this from anywhere. We'll show you how to buy in Canada, US, Costa Rica, Mexico, Dominican Republic. but I need you to take the action. I can't do it for you. I can definitely help you and show you everything, but action is the biggest piece. And if you want to quit your job, again, like we did, it's just every single day, even if it's just a little thing, you're just moving, you're pushing that goal forward, and you're doing things to help yourself quit your job. So real estate is how we did it. I strongly believe in real estate. That's why Mel and I continue to buy. And that's the thing. Reverse engineer. So I wish I had gotten a coach or mentor so much earlier. I would have saved hundreds of thousands of dollars. However, I had to go through the journey. I don't regret anything because now Mel and I are able to show people with our action family. Okay. I've got some questions here that I will dive into as well. Okay. So if you have questions, definitely post them, and I will circle back to them soon. I'm just trying to, again, help people to be able to leave their jobs like Mel and I did. What was I saying? So the steps are, yes, buying real estate, doing it the right way. Each deal should compound on its own, over and above the other one, to help your overall ratio so that you can walk away from your job. Now the mindset of this. So people, how do I say this? People are so scared to get uncomfortable. And okay, let's have some real talk. Let's have some mindset, because people always want to run away from the mindset stuff. They'll say, Dave, boring. You're talking mindset again. Who isn't talking mindset? It's so important. Okay. And again, today, just like every other day, Mel and I did our journals together while we have our coffee, doing our journals, putting our goals in, because you're 42% more likely to achieve your goals when you write them down. But the whole mindset is people typically want to do something because they want pleasure, or they do something because they're getting away from pain. And I talk to people all the time. Fill out the form and I'll call you as well. Again, guys, I want to make sure that if you're joining the Action family, I want to make sure that you're a good fit and that you're in line with what Mel and I are doing. And again, we only want awesome people. We don't want any bad apples. So fill out the form. I'm actually going to give you a call because I want to make sure that if anyone's coming in the Action family, they're a right fit. Okay. So pain, pleasure, or let's do pleasure, pain. Okay. What I mean by this is, people will, again, I talk to people all the time, and it's either going to be something like, I really want to do this and give this to my, I want to buy real estate for this and this reason, because it's going to help me do X, Y, Z. Like Mel and I talk to people that say all the time, I've never brought my kids to Disney World or Disneyland or whatever one you want to go to, Florida or California. And that's a big thing on their bucket list, because kids are only so young for so long, right? Like Colton, he's already 9. Like it just blows my mind. We brought him to Disney World, when he was 1, and he's already going to be 10 next year, and he already wants to hang out with his friends more than he does with Mel and I. Like, I'm so glad we were able to bring him to Disney. But that might be something like, if you want to bring your kids to Disney, and right now the 9 to 5 is not cutting it, because Mel and I couldn't do it if we didn't have real estate. Like in 2015, when he was born, when we went to Disney World, there's no way that we could have done it if we did not have real estate. So that's what I'll see people typically, things like that. That's why they want to buy real estate. Okay. The other thing is pain. And this is where I'm talking to people, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish you got started a little earlier. There's never a bad time to get started, but sometimes I wish people would have contacted me earlier, because they'll be like, Dave, I just lost my job and I need to get started. Or, my kids are going to school next year and I don't have any money, and now I need to ramp up the portfolio quickly so that I can pay for this. Or my house, I bought it an X amount of year at a variable rate mortgage. The interest rates went up. I can't afford it anymore. I wish I had cash flow from buildings to help me offset this. So these are the conversations I'm having with people. They either want real estate to help them on the pleasure side, or they're talking about it because on the pain side, they need to stop the hurting with that. And there's no right or wrong here. I'm just telling you that I talk to people in all different situations, and real estate is what they want to do. But they have that fear of getting into it. And that's the thing. Anything you do has feelings, right? There's going to be a certain feeling to anything we do. When you buy a piece of real estate, right? Just think about when if you're renting, when you go look at apartments, right? Is there a feeling to looking at apartments that you like, and then looking at how much the rent is, and then when you sign the lease, you're like, oh, I'm scared? That's a lot of mixed emotions. When you're buying your principal residence, are you having the, oh, this is beautiful, but it's over our asking price, or this is beautiful, but then what's our monthly payment going to be? And then you put the offer in, it gets firm, you have closing date, you're like, there's feelings to every single aspect of that real estate transaction, right? Renting, buying. Same thing when I buy income properties. I put it in my cash flow analysis matrix, right? I've reviewed the market. I know the province or the state. I'm comfortable with it. I know what my exit strategy is. I've raised the funds to be able to buy it. I put the offer in. Once I get the accepted offer, it's a sensation of, oh, that's exciting. I got the offer. Perfect. And then it's okay, now the due diligence period starts. That's another feeling of, okay, hopefully everything works out. When I go to firm up, it's another feeling like, oh, are we doing the right thing here? There might be something that I don't know about this deal, but I've done all my due diligence. So you're kind of like still nervous. Closing day is exciting because you get the keys. It's all of mixed bags of emotions. So what I'm getting at here is, if you're looking at getting started in real estate and you're having oh, it's exciting. I see buildings. People say all the time, I wish I owned that building. I wish I owned a 5-plex. I wish I had units under my belt to be able to do things. Okay. That's the end result. But let's go back here. You need to start somewhere, which is, if you're going to start, you need knowledge and education. That's where we come in. Book a call and we can talk about that. There's going to be feelings with that too, right? I think it was just a couple of weeks ago. If you guys are following us, we do stories all the time. We do weekly wrap-ups. Sarah, a couple of weeks ago, had mentioned, Sarah and Joshua. I say it because it resonates. Like we get just this week, we had people too saying, thank you so much, Mel and Dave, for all the help. Oh, there was one yesterday. Was it Chris? Anyway, I don't know why Sarah and Joshua stick out to me so much. I think it's because I forget. But they literally said, Sarah said exactly, joining the Action family was one of the scariest things I could have ever done. Like, she was worried. And that's the thing. Of course, there's going to be feelings. We're humans. We feel, we react to everything that's going on. So she said, I was so scared. I had feelings of joining. And she's like, so again, the unknown, I'm doing this, no longer a question of if, but now I'm doing it. So she had obviously mixed emotions, which is normal when you join a mentoring program. And then she did a deal and she had mixed emotions again, which is normal. I get the same thing. But she's saying, thank you so much for really pushing me through those emotions. Because now I'm able to do, what I want to do, which is buying real estate. So again, if you think that everything in life is always going to feel super, super good and super, super amazing, real estate's no different. You're still going to have those, should I not? But as long as the pros outweigh the cons, proceed with it. And I'm talking very general. Like, when I analyze deals, it's got to make sense in our cash flow analysis matrix that we've had trademarked. I have to make sure that I understand the market. I've done my due diligence. I have a plan. I've got property managers in place. I know what I'm going to lift the asset to an evaluation, right? Higher appraisals. But there's still that inherent, because you can't control things. There's certain elements, like, it's life, right? You're going to have feelings. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is action. Execution and action. Nothing happens unless you do something about it. If nothing changes, nothing changes. So Mel and I were able to quit our jobs in our 30s. Why? Is it because we didn't do anything? No, it's because we took action. Like, again, and there's going to be mistakes and there's going to be hard times, but pick your heart. What would you rather? Okay, let's talk about this. Put it in the chat. I want to see what people think. What would you rather? Because everything is hard, okay? Would you rather work 35, 40 years, scraping by, get to retirement, don't have the money that you want? Sometimes people have to go back to work, right? Does that seem hard to you? Yes, it is. I talk to people in that situation all the time. It is hard. So that's option number one. Option number two, do you get out of your comfort zone? Do you learn? But it's going to be hard, right? So you have to learn, and that's where Mel and I come in to help you with that. You have to do things. You have to get uncomfortable. You have to start buying real estate. You have to have feelings, right? There's still going to be a certain element of hard where you have to build a portfolio and get up and running and all that. Create your structures. If you're in Canada, corporations, and if you're in the States, LLCs, like, there's an element of hard to that as well. Put some work in. But then after that, once you build a portfolio and are up and running, the majority of the hard work is done. And now you're on the other side of that hurdle. Now you have a portfolio and dividends and distributions and income and refinances, and you're able to do different things like us, quit our job. So when I look back, I'm working poor and it's hard. Yeah, Jessica, this is such a common thing. And thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being brave and sharing that. It's on Facebook. I know I'm on different platforms here. You guys aren't seeing it, but that was Jessica on Facebook said, I am working poor and it's hard. And Jessica, because you've said that and you've been brave, and I'm not trying to point you out here, is if nothing changes, nothing changes. Okay. The topic was quitting our jobs in our 30s. And that's literally what happened when Mel and I, we were working 3 jobs each. So 6 jobs total. I was a firefighter. She worked at a local college. I was a teacher's aide. I was a janitor. She was a fitness instructor, and she was also teaching online courses as well. So 6 jobs in total. We knew this isn't sustainable. This isn't what life is supposed to be, working 6 jobs. So that's when we said, okay, something has to change, because if nothing changes, nothing changes. But if something changes, you can get something different. And that's when we said it has to be real estate, and we have to take action, and we have to go through it. And Dave now, 2024, is so happy that Mel and Dave, and we were buying real estate, obviously for years now. I'm so happy that we did the hard work in the beginning, so that now we get to do what we want now, instead of continuing that, right? I could have been in that for a decade or even longer, just working. Like, as a firefighter, because I had worked for the government before. So when I got out of high school at 18 years old, I worked for the provincial government, right? I worked for the Ontario Disability Support Program, which is social assistance and welfare for people with disabilities. I worked there till I was like 25. Then I got on the fire department. I worked there for 5, 6, 7 years. It's all a blur now. What I'm getting at is I had pensionable time, and everyone kept saying how lucky I am. You're going to retire at 50. And I was like, okay, that sounds awesome, but I want to retire now and do what I want now, which is, who doesn't want that, right? I'd still be a firefighter. I'm 38. I'd still have another 12 years, plus the other years that I've already left. I would still be doing something I didn't want to do, which doesn't sound appealing to me at all. So I'm so happy that Mel and I did the hard work in the beginning so that we can do what we want now. And that's the thing, is you can do this too. You can quit your job. And you might say, Dave, I'm in my 20s, I'm in my 30s, I'm already past my 30s, I'm in my 40s or 50s. It doesn't matter. Right? Start now. Take action now. Like, don't let another year, another decade get by with you not liking what you do. That's not what we're put on this earth to do, right? Hating your job and hating your days is not what was intended for us. Okay, let me dive into some of the questions here. Everything is mindset. I agree with you. Do you know of any private lenders in South Africa? I don't purchase real estate in South Africa. The 5 countries that Mel and I invest in: Canada, US, Costa Rica, Mexico, and Dominican Republic. Okay, there's other questions. Colorado, I had 20%, $120K to put down on the last home, and I could not get approved for a mortgage, and I had to back out on the contract. Okay. And again, that's because they are looking at your ratios, right? So let me guess. They said, let me guess, Colorado. What they said, or Coloradan, excuse me. Did they say you don't qualify for this? Is that what they said? Your ratios, you don't qualify for this, is probably what they said, right? When you went to buy the place. And this is, hi, I'm from India. Hey, Mega. And hey, Ivanson. So this is what happens. People will go to financial institutions, and they have a deal, or they'll look at buying a deal. And the financial institutions will basically say, hey, they'll look at their credit score, they'll look at the income, the expenses, all that stuff. And then they have I think it's 40 or 42. I'm not a mortgage broker, but they have certain ratios. And that's when they say, if you had a property, it would put you to that 40 or 42 ratio percentage. And then they basically look, what purchase price of property would then put you to your max out level? And then that's what they say, this is how much you qualify for. And if you're already at that max out level or very close to, they don't do it because you're already there. So that you don't qualify for that. Or if, like, you bought this house, and I'm just making up numbers. Let's say you went to go, let's say that your qualified for number was 200K and the deal you had was 300K. Well, they're like, yeah, your ratios don't allow you to do so, right? This is where I love creative financing and debt servicing and all that is asset-based lending, equity-based lending, which is what we use, which is what helped us quit our jobs, right? They look at the deal. They're looking at what the ratios are, because the bank, the way they look at it is, pretend you're a bank. And I'm not a mortgage broker, so don't take this as finance advice or anything like that. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an accountant. I have 0 letters after my name. I'm a real estate investor who's purchased over 264 units now in 5 countries. I'm talking from experience. With no joint venture partners. I can't stress that enough. With no joint venture partners, okay? Like, I'm not against JVs, guys. It's just Mel and I prefer to solely own our buildings. And don't worry, I'll talk about the debt servicing. I'm going to go on a solely owning rant here. And what I mean by that is Mel and I like to solely own our buildings because we control them. I don't want any partners telling me what to do. I don't want to have to ask to refinance my building, or have to ask to sell, or have to say, hey, are we refinancing? Are we selling? What are we doing? Splitting the money, all of that. I just don't want any part of that. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with it. I know a lot of people that are very successful with it. It's just Mel and I are huge on solely owning. That's our preference. Okay. And that's what we teach in the Action Family, is how to solely own a portfolio, right? We've solely purchased over 264 units now and counting. I've got a couple irons in the fire. What was I saying? So yeah, the debt servicing. So the way the financial or the lenders look at it is, okay, this makes the income is greater than the expenses with their underwriting. So let's say we have to take back this deal for whatever reason. We're okay to do so. And the banks and the lenders, they don't want to be owners, right? They have zero desire. They want to lend money and make interest. So if they have to take back a building, they want to sell it and get their money back and recoup their losses and move on to the next loan. So the way they look at it is, again, from my experience, they look at it as long as the ratios are there, we're only lending a certain loan to value on this acquisition, this asset. If we have to take it back, my watch is telling me to get moving. Leave me alone, watch. If they have to take it back, there you go. If they have to take it back, they will, and they'll take it back at like 70 cents on the dollar, and they're still going to recoup their funds. So asset-based lending, equity-based lending, that's typically how they look at it, and that's why they're like, yeah, they'll still look at you. They're still going to look at you, see if there's any skeletons in the closet, that type of thing. You're still going to have to, well, I still have to do personal guarantees on every single asset that I've purchased in the 5 countries. Okay, so that's normal as well. But the asset-based lending, equity-based lending, and creative financing in other people's money, right? So which our favorites are vendor take-back mortgages, where the seller holds a mortgage for you, using registered funds in Canada and retirement funds in the US. So RRSPs or 401k, using promissory notes, right? As long as they're done correctly with a lawyer and an attorney. And then agreement for sales or wrap mortgages in the US, right? We don't have to qualify for anything. So those are some of our preferences, and that's what we use. And that's what we show people how to use as well. So it's a pretty cool thing. Once you understand how to do that, sky's the limit. Like, and as long as you're taking action, which is the absolute biggest thing. Yeah. So let me go to, I got a couple more questions here. Mega Action Family, love it. A lot of hellos. Someone said, yes. So you can do this creative financing. We're doing it in primarily Canada and the US. Okay, but we are investing in 5 different countries. So yeah, you can do it in different countries as well. Did you question about real estate on Instagram because I want to learn from you? Do you answer questions about real estate? Well, YouTube Dreams, what's your question? Let's dive into it. And send us a DM with the word action, and we'll be able to send you some more information too, guys. People are asking what age. Yeah, Mel and I both quit our jobs in our 30s. Both quit our jobs in our 30s. These were golden handcuff jobs, right? Salary, pensions, benefits, unions, vacation. These are the types of jobs that people don't typically walk away from, right? So, all right. Yeah, so if anyone has any questions, you can send us a DM. Hopefully today has been insightful on how you can reverse engineer and look at exiting your form of employment. We're not put on this earth to work, right? If anyone here has read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which we've had the pleasure of meeting Kim Kiyosaki. We actually went to dinner with her in Tampa September last year. Rule number 1, again, read the book. It's an amazing book. Read the book. it doesn't necessarily show you how to buy real estate, but it talks about other people's money and good debt versus bad debt, which Mel and I love. We love good debt. Rule number one is the rich don't work for money. Okay. So if you don't like your job or your employment or what you're doing and you are working for money, it's a double negative. And I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight. Even some people in the Action family, they love their job. And I'm like, hey, if you love your job, like if I still loved firefighting, I would still do it. I just fell out of love with it. It doesn't mean that firefighting is bad. Not 100%. I used to love the job, and firefighters are amazing. I thank you. I thank them for their service. Anyone in emergency services, thank you so much for your service. I just fell out of love with it. Doesn't mean it's a bad career or bad anything. It's just when you don't want to do something anymore and you have the choice and the option not to do it, right? It's kind of, that's how it works. Paul, how do you find cash flowing properties in Canada with interest rates and housing costs so high? Also, do you find long-term rental, the short-term rental is better approach nowadays? I always love the long-term rentals, not going to lie. I do short-term rentals in in Costa Rica, Mexico, and Dominican Republic. Also Orlando, Florida as well. But I like the long-term rentals, and I feel as though the financial institution love the long-term rentals as well. I feel as though they love the fact that housing, people will always need a place to live. Immigration is up. I love immigration. So, people will need a place to live. There's not enough places for people to live already. Okay. So I feel as though the valuations are going to stay up as well. What else is your question? How do I find deals? Yeah, still definitely finding deals. So we bought a deal in Edmonton on July 1st. Just last week, a couple weeks ago. Now, I guess it'll be a month tomorrow. Oh my gosh, it's July 31st. Rent day tomorrow, payday tomorrow. But yeah, definitely still able to find deals. Now, will it be every deal, Paul? Not going to lie. Excuse me. Not going to lie. You will have to look at, it's a numbers game. You're going to have to look at deals. And I think you already know that. So you will have to look at deals. It is what it is. There's a lot of deals out there that don't make sense. I see deals all the time and I'm like, this deal is just so out of whack, but someone will come along and buy it. Like, anyway, they can have it. I only want good deals. But yeah, if you're interested in anything, thank you for staying right till the end of our live. If you're interested in anything, DM us the word action. We can send you some free training as well. But the biggest thing here is to get taking action, right? 2024, there's 5 months left? August, September, October, November, December. There's only 5 months left in 2024. So there's no reason why you couldn't buy a couple of properties if you know how to do it correctly. Even if you have a bunch of money or not, right? We can show you how to raise funds and use other people's money. But yeah, thank you so much for being on live with me. Never be shy to reach out to us and enjoy your day. All right. Bye for now. Oh, Keith, send us a DM. I just saw your message last second.